Hello folks, welcome back to the channel and thank you for joining me once again. You are always most welcome. Today we are going to have a look at the American Air Force USAF's B-2A Spirit stealth bomber. This is the kit from Model Collect in 1/72 scale. Now it's quite a monster of an aircraft. The real aircraft is a real monster, it has to be said. So we are expecting it to be fairly big, and the box is pretty big, as you can see. So let's have a look at what we've got here. I've not built a Model Collect, I don't think, so it's going to be quite an interesting one to have a look at. I'm not very familiar with their stuff. On the side we've got, you can see how bizarre this aircraft is, of course. The world's first true stealth bomber. Of course it was used in the Gulf War, both the Gulf Wars in fact I think. And we have got a product code for the model is UA-72201. You can see the very strange, I'm not even sure how to describe it really, but you know, it's clearly an unusual design, isn't it? That's the very nature of the business really that this one's in. I mean, it just looks like I don't know, a ceiling tile or something. Anyway, we shall have a good look at this. On the opposite side of the box we've got some photos of CAD renderings, which I absolutely detest. I wish they would stop doing that. I want them to show me the plastic. I don't want to see a screenshot of some designer's computer screen which is just theoretical and does not actually accurately represent what is in the box. It's just a guide. Gives a little bit of a spiel on the side. It says that later Northrop Grumman B-2 Spirit, also known as the stealth bomber, is an American heavy penetration strategic bomber featuring low observable stealth technology designed for penetrating dense anti-aircraft defences. It is a flying wing designed with a crew of 2. The bomber can deploy both conventional and thermonuclear weapons such as 80 500-pound 230 kilogram class JDAM global positioning system guided bombs, or 16 2,400-pound B-83 nuclear bombs. Let's just take that in again. 16 B-83 nuclear bombs. Oh my god. Okay. The B-2 is the only acknowledged aircraft that can carry large air-to-surface standoff weapons in a stealth configuration. Air to surface standoff. Okay, yeah. So basically, it's essentially what they're saying is it's the only true bomber that's truly stealthy. Okay, fair enough. Let's have a look at what we got inside. Big old box. I feel this might take a while, so bear with me. Nice and easy to open. We have got lots of bags which are sealed. Okay, I think we'll open them. I think we'll be opening these. This does not belong to me, this kit. It's been lent to me, but I've been advised I should open it and do a full-on review for this one. And it does look quite impressive and quite imposing, I think is the phrase I would use. It looks like a nice instruction book. And okay, at the bottom of the box we've got clear parts, which is basically just the windscreen. And then we've got, wow, this very, very large, very well packaged top bottom. I think it's the top bottom of the wings. We'll start with instructions. I think that's the way to go. Let's have a look. Looks very nice. Nice colour artwork on the front. Gives you a little bit of a history. Tells you what I've already just told you, and it goes on to say it was first proposed during the Carter administration. Gosh, that's a while ago, isn't it? In the early 70s, mid-70s. Expected performance were the reasons for the cancellation of the B-1A bomber. And then during the Reagan administration, the project continued, and there were delays, so they reintroduced and reinstated the B-1 bomber program. B-1B, wasn't it? Program costs rising throughout its development. Oh yeah, they always, yeah. Total procurement cost £929 million per aircraft. Oh, I don't believe I've just read that. Is that not a misprint? Oh god. Okay. It includes spare parts, equipment, retrofitting, software support, etc. The total programme, including development, came to $2.1 billion per aircraft by 1997. I've worked for companies that are not as big as that, and that's per aircraft. Okay. Because of the huge capital and operation costs involved, it was very controversial in the US Congress and among the Joint Chiefs of Staff too. The winding down of the Cold War and the latter portion of the 1980s dramatically reduced the need for this aircraft, which was designed with the intention to penetrate Soviet airspace and attack high-value targets. During the late 80s and 90s, Congress slashed the plans to purchase 132 bombers to just 21. In 2008, one was destroyed in a crash just after takeoff, though the crew ejected safely. There are 20 B-2s in the service in the United States which will continue to operate until the year 2058. Wow, that's quite presumptuous, isn't it? That sounds like a very long life they're giving it. That's like a 60-year lifespan. Incredible. The B-2 is capable of all altitude attack missions up to 50,000 feet, the range of 6,000 nautical miles, 11,000 kilometres, on internal fuel and 10,000 miles with mid-air refuelling. Wow. It entered service in 1997 as the second aircraft designed to have advanced stealth technology after the Lockheed F-117 Nighthawk stealth fighter. Though designed originally as a primary nuclear bomber, it was first used in combat dropping conventional non-nuclear ordnance in the Kosovo War in 1999. 1999? I don't think that was Kosovo War, was it? I'm sure that is a misprint. Shouldn't that be 94? 93, 94. Later served in Iraq, Afghanistan and Libya. Okay. No, maybe it's right, Kosovo War. Yeah, because it brewed up again, didn't it? Okay. Anyway, well, that's quite a good background. Gives you all the things that we hope to get, which I always complain about, that some of these Far Eastern kit manufacturers, especially in China, don't give us any of this, and they don't give us any data about the product. It's just a model, and it annoys me that, because we want to know about the subject matter. And here they tell you, crew of 2. It's got a maximum takeoff weight of 176 tons, 170 tons, beg pardon, metric tons that is. Performance, Mach 0.95 at 40,000 feet. So it's not designed to go supersonic, it's just a subsonic aircraft. But of course, it doesn't have to travel very fast because it's just invisible. Almost. Alright, the kit then. So we've got sprue trees that are mapped out here. Bring you in for this a bit more so you can see it. It actually lists all the 20 aircraft as well. They're all called Spirit of, and then it's usually a state. It's quite interesting, isn't it? I like the background they're giving you, that's really good. So, sprue trees, looks like you're going to be using everything here, and then you've got these very huge parts which are in the box, amongst all that excellent packaging, which is also the main central fuselage and the main wing. Start off by, bring you right into this, building up the cockpit area, which looks like quite a decent sized cockpit. And you build the rear bulkhead and attach that to the back of the floor sort of tub area. Then you've got all these sort of consoles at the side, on either side of the cockpit, the rear cockpit. Then you've got a forward bulkhead coming in here, and what look like ladders. Is that right? Are they ladders? You kind of are. Oh no, it's the rails. Sorry, ladders. The rails for the ejection seat. That's what it is. They're coming in. I like the way that this is not overly complicated. They haven't made it too busy. It's very easy to understand, step by step, without too many things happening per frame. There's your ejector seats coming in. Panels which are PE with the look of it. They're going to be put in for all the instrumentation panels at the side. Same on the opposite side. And then you've got the yoke control sticks going in, showing the position of those. And then you've got your instrumentation on the kind of top coving, attached to the top coving of the instrument, sort of like a console surround that comes down on top of it. Then we're starting straight away. It's quite a simple build, isn't it? It's not overly covered in parts. Starting to build up your undercarriage and your undercarriage gear doors. Then, just the gear doors, isn't it? Yes, the gear doors. Then you're starting, seems to jump. Then you're starting the rotating bomb racks for your conventional or nuclear weapons, and then the bombs themselves are going in there. And then you've got this sort of area that's the dividing area for the racks, because it has a rotating system that drops the bombs, rotates, drops, rotates, drops. Quite a clever system that was devised for the B-2. So you've got these like a carousel almost, isn't it? A bomb carousel. Then you've got the front and rear bulkheads for the bomb bay going in, and your two carousels going on there. Then we have the side plates. This is where the engines ultimately I think are going to be mounted. You've got the external covers for this is on the lower fuselage. Then you've got the nose gear bay going in. The roof, as it were, of your bomb bay here is going on. Bomb bay roof and gear bay roof. And then we're working on the area, there's the crew access ladder it looks like, and they're going to climb up, and I knew there was a ladder in here somewhere, there we go, and showing the relative positions of how the crew access ladder goes in relative to the cockpit tub, which is now completed and now gets slotted in as well. It shows in great detail there just exactly how they are positioned relative to the rest of the sort of monocoque of the fuselage. And then we've got your air intakes. These are air intakes, like additional blower doors for the engines, not the main intakes but the ones on top. And then we've got the engines themselves being built up with the trunking, this front and aft. So there's trunking in front, trunking behind, and of course on the Stealth, to make it quiet and to have a low heat signature, etc., it goes the heat and the trunking goes through unusual shapes of turns, because they don't want it to be a straight pipe, because that would be very noisy and also very hot heat signature. So you have this almost like a vacuum cleaner or car exhaust system style to it, to try and have a baffling effect on the sound of the air coming in and also the effect of the exhaust going out. And then you bring the top of the fuselage down on top of the already built lower portion, and then you're bringing in your gear. You've got wheels there with brakes going on, and you've got 4 per side. Then you've got the side of your bomb racks going in for what's going to be more detail that's going to fix the actual bomb bay doors on here. And you can have it open or closed status, obviously. Obviously more fun to have it open, I guess. And then you've got your nose wheel. It's a twin wheel system. Wheels and tyres at the front, big strong nose leg. That's going in here. Shows the alignment. Lining it in red, I'm not sure what that means, it's not terribly clear, but anyway. The illustrations are very clear, I have to say, and it does show you in a very logical way, non-confusing way, of what's going in every step of the build. Then you've got your stealthy nose gear bay door. It's rather attractive sort of diagonal pattern. Then you've got actually building the wings themselves, which look fairly straightforward on this one. You've got wings, you've got flaps and ailerons. Ailerons and the flaps are on 2 different surfaces, because that's the nature of the shape of the wing, of course. So you've got these openings, splitting ailerons at the end that act like a split flap for slowing down, an air braking effect. And then finally you bring your outer wing in, attaching it to the rest of the central part of the jet, and the final part is the sort of central tail section that goes on there. And that's really it. And then you have got the colour call out here. Few stencils, not that many it seems, and then the different markings that are available. Spirit of America, Spirit of New York, or Spirit of Mississippi. Those seem to be the included decals that are in the kit. That's your marking scheme, and it tells you about the positioning of where it all goes. So it's quite interesting, isn't it? It's a very interesting subject, this one. It's something that not many manufacturers have tackled, of course. So we'll put that away, and I think we'll start with the biggest parts in this lovely box, which is a very strong box, by the way, really meaty. Kind of reinforced design. It's like a double glazed twin skin. Very, very good. So starting off with, gosh, this is quite impressive, isn't it? Starting off with, quite a big box, isn't it? I've got nowhere to put it. Let's have a look at this main top section of the fuselage. And obviously you notice that it's in kind of the appropriate colour, which is quite helpful, I think. Certainly in terms of, it needs to be quite a dark colour, and it means that it perhaps makes priming it a little bit easier. Panel lining is good. It's obviously it's got these very unusual shapes and unusual sort of panel lines on an aircraft like this because of its stealthy nature. And you can see all these like diamond patterns and things that are going on there. Quite impressive. The thing you do notice about this is it's very thick plastic. It's quite rigid. Look at this. Very, very solid looking, isn't it? Very, very meaty. They haven't skimped on the plastic at all. You see that? How thick it is? Very, very solid. It's heavy, relatively speaking, quite heavy for something of this nature. Yeah, it's quite impressive. And it's all in one piece. Ejector pin marks underneath, not a problem. All looks very, very nice, that. So far so good. Let's have a look at the other parts that are in there. We've got the wings. Wing. Top and bottom. And again, very thick, meaty plastic, quite heavy. Not going to be a light kit, this. If you're going to hang it up from the ceiling, you're going to need something very substantial to mount it with. So straight away, you're getting a bit of an idea of the shaping of it, of the final product. I'm not sure how well that's going to. It feels like there's a bit of a gap there to me. I think that's an issue. You might need to use a tiny bit of filler here, because that's it. In some places it fits really nicely. In other places, like that middle piece, it's definitely got it's going to be a slight gap. So that's going to be something you'll have to take care of. But the again, the panel lines are really nice. You can already see how massive this is. It's big, isn't it? We've only got just over half of it in the picture. Not a lot of panel lines, not a lot of surface detail, because that's the nature of the stealth aircraft. So that is that. Then, of course, we have the underside. Just put that out there. Oops. And here is the underside of the main fuselage. And again, you can see where they have these corrugated, almost like sawtooth style doors, because obviously that breaks up the radar image, and that's very common across the aircraft. So yeah, so we've got top and bottom, and it's sort of they've designed it quite well in that it kind of interlocks. I don't know if you can see this. It's interlocking, so if I just slide it back out again, see, and it just sort of locks in quite nicely. Zoom out a bit clearer. Now you can straight away you can see the profile. It's a beast, isn't it? The fit feels good. It feels like it's locking together really well. Just the slight gap here and there. Not so much at the front, more at the back. But now you can really do your mucking up of your. I thought I was building it. I better not build it. I'll get in trouble. Will it go in or not? It's really difficult. Come on, you can do it. There we go. Now you can really see. Kind of gives you a bit of an indicator as to the way the finished thing is going to look. You've got, yeah, it's a big meaty ship, isn't it? I'm quite enjoying this. It's almost like I feel like I'm building it, really. I'm not trying to build it, honestly. And I missed some PE and decals as well, which we'll come back to shortly. Yeah, I'm not sure what this plastic is going to be like in terms of the way it's going to receive the adhesive, because it's such a big chunky plastic. I think it's going to require some fairly hefty adhesive application. I really do. So there we go. We're getting it into the image for you now. That gives you a fair idea. There's actually a slight difference in the actual colouring as well of this. I don't know if you can tell on the camera, but well, interestingly, the port wing, which is in my right hand, it's a slightly different colour. It's a little bit more blue than the rest of it. The rest of it all looks about the same. But this is a slightly different shade. Can you see that? This one's a bit bluer, as the rest is just like a grey. How odd. It's almost like it was done on a different day, different production run. What's it like underneath? Yeah, not sure. Anyway, digressing, I'm enjoying that too much. It's a really big beast of an aircraft, and quite a meaty kit as a result. That is odd that it's a different colour. I know this is going to be a problem, obviously. I don't think so. Right, so I will now attempt to put this away for a second. It doesn't go to any harm. And put that like that. It's quite interesting the way that they've actually packed it within the box. They've actually put them together to make it have the minimum sort of footprint within the box, so to speak. It's actually quite clever, I think. Right, now then, let's get into the rest of it. Oops. So, we have got some PE parts, which look very nice. And if we get into these, some of these bags can be the devil to get into. They seal a little bit too well sometimes. There we go. Just like the rip that, didn't I? Just didn't want to open, did it? Ah, so this is the instrumentation. Here we go. Now then. Just wait for the camera to get there. There we go. So actually that's really rather nice. And it's got like a combination of sort of textures and finishes and surfaces, which does look very nice, and again very stealthy. It's quite thin PE, got to be careful with it. It's a really all your instrument panels are there. Looks very, very nice. That's something a little bit different to your sort of regular run-of-the-mill Edward style PE. Then we have got clear parts. So I'm going to open that, I think, to have a good look at it. So it'll be interesting to see how clear this is. So let's try and do this carefully. Let's do it down the side. So like this. Let's bring you out. It's always tricky trying to do this when you're doing an unboxing and getting the camera angles correct. It's not as easy as you think. Right, did that go through or not? Did that not feel like it did anything? Yes, it did. There we go. Better to just do it gently and then unzip it. Wow, that looks actually really nice. It's certainly a bit clearer transparent parts than we saw on the Tora Mitsubishi Zero, some Edward for example. Look at that. Very nice clear part. Excellent. Clear as a whistle, that. Clear as a bell. Love it. We'll put that on one side because that needs just taping up again. That's that one. Then we have some decals. Two Bobs Aviation Graphics. These are the guys that produce the decals, okay? Follow us. have a look at this. Never seen two bobs before. Which I think from the USA. Could be wrong. Let's have a look. There we go. Managed to do it again. Just a gentle cut. Now then. Right. Now then. We have got these very low vis stealth type markings. Spirit of Mississippi, as you can see, Spirit of Missouri, Spirit of New York. Spirit of America, sorry, not Missouri. Yeah, they're nice looking decals. Whether that's going to give you issues with silvering, I think they may do, especially these here. Because if you look, you can see that they're quite a big decal. I think the way around that being a problem would be you'd really need to be very careful and ensure that your finish for your paint is a glossy finish, because otherwise I can see there's going to be an issue, and you don't want to do what I did with the Blackbird SR71 and have it all sprayed up super matte, then put decals on that just sit on top silver like hell, you know. But they're really nice decals. They look very, very nicely printed, and the carrier film is very minimal. It's just that there's a filled in area, and that will cause potentially problems. So yeah, make sure you've got a glossed up kit. When you do the model, you need to spray it in a way that's going to enable those decals to adhere to the surface. It needs to be very, very smooth, and then you'll get no problems at all, I'm sure. And again, we'll put that back and get reseal later. Now let's have a look at what's going to do in this. I think this is the best way. Right then. Ooh. Okay, one or two parts here that don't look quite as nice, in fairness. Maybe it's just the fact that I've got bright light on it, but you can see here you've got these covers over the engines. You see there's a lot of it's quite, yeah, there's a mark there. That's actually this blemish is actually something I can feel. And then it's not the same on the other side, so that's not too great, if I'm honest. Like a mould mark. It's, oh yeah, and it's got some blemishes. Look at these, can you see them? Got some issues in the moulding here, I'm afraid. This is reminding me a little bit of that Trumpeter Bear. But in some respects it's actually worse, because this is quite a noticeable bulging effect in the actual part, and that's going to be tricky to get out. I'm probably going to end up having to use filler there, so that's a little bit of frustration. Sink marks, they are basically quite severe ones, and then the rest of the parts on the spray look absolutely fine. So perhaps this was a tricky one in shape to mould, but they don't seem to have done it very consistently, do they? That's a bit nasty. If you look at the rest of it, it looks absolutely okay. Can't see anything similar elsewhere. It's just on that shaped part. Yeah, we've got a little bit of an issue that's visible here in the actual sort of figuring of the plastic, the way it's actually set, but that I can't feel anything, so that's not going to be a problem. That'll cover with paint and be gone. But you won't cover these problem areas here with paint. That's going to have to be taken care of, I think. That's a little bit disappointing, because it's doing really well to that point. So that is that one, which is in a bag of its own. I'll put it back. Again, very thick, chunky plastic. Not a huge amount of detail on the actual surface, because that's what the real aircraft is like, of course. Let's have a look at this one. Oh, sorry, zoom you out again. There we go. And I'm tempted to have another light on here just to help a little bit. A bit dark today, isn't it? It's pretty dark outside as well, I'll tell you. That winter has arrived in the UK, and it's been wet and windy and icy and very cold. it's going to get worse actually in the next couple of days. Right, now then. Okay. This is the roof of the bomb bay. Oh, okay. I was going to say that looks a little bit nasty, but actually I've just realised it's the blank side. This big piece here is the roof of the bomb bay. So it's got, is that some mould residue? Yeah, that's actually residue. It's actually greasy from the mould. So I'll not put my finger on that again and get it all over the kit ready. So there's some residue there from the mould itself, but don't worry about that because that's the side you're interested in. That's the actual bomb bay itself. So that's really nice. And again, on the other parts here, they look absolutely fine. There's one or two blemishes again within the sort of pigmentation, as you can see here, in the pigmentation, but that feels completely smooth. That's just literally in the way, it's just a visible flaw, if you like, in the way that it's actually formed during the moulding. The hot injection plastic pellets are melted in that way. Not going to be seen on the final model once it's painted, so that's not a problem. But you want to take off this residue because that's quite greasy and that will affect it. You get that on your fingers, you get it all over your model and you won't have the paint taking it all. So that would need to be taken care of, but other than that I can't see any problems at all. All those parts look really lovely, and again it's just very solid, chunky plastic. It's almost sort of reminds me of kind of like Lego in a way. Something really heavy duty about it, you know. So that's that one. Then we have got, this is the sprue that's got all the instrumentation and the coving and the trunking for the engines on it. So let's bring you into that. Here we go. So you can see here, that's the coving for the instrumentation console at the front. And then you've got various side panels, and you've got your landing gear, the main arm, if you like, the leg I should say, which is very strong looking, isn't it? And then we've got these sections of trunking I mentioned about the stealth trunking to stop the reverberation and jet noise. Has this very convoluted, like a complicated car exhaust style to it. But again, all the parts there look absolutely fine. I don't see any obvious sink marks. There was a little bit of an issue with that one, a little bit of a finishing issue. Can you see that? Again, not consistent with the other part. One or two of these moulds, I think Model Collect might need to take a look at them because they haven't got them that perfect. Seems to be the curved surfaces where they're struggling. There is a little sink mark here. This is the nose gear door, and there's a little sink mark there. Can you see that? That's a little bit, that could be a little bit of a problem. Yeah. Anyway, let's just pop those back in, he says. It's always easy to get them out, it is to get them back in every time. Okay, bring you back out for this. I'll just stick that one side, I think. My camera, the zoom is very slow today. I'm not sure whether the batteries are going in mine. No, I might need to just change the battery, I think. It's being reluctant. It's like it thinks it's done enough work this year and it's had enough. You know the feeling. It's going to be a lot easier to put it in that way up, I think. Yeah. Got that on one side, there we go, over there. And then we've got all your small parts, engines, and then a set of bombs. There we go. Now then, we've got a twin sprue here, so we'll just look at one of them. And it's got the wheels on it and tyres. and we've also got a lot of the smaller parts and the ribs in the bomb bay and things like that. So here we go. There we are. Those are actually really nicely moulded, those wheels and tyres. That's very detailed on the wheels. Same with the front wheel here, those wheels. And as I said, there's two sets of this sprue, so everything's duplicated. Then we've got one of the main gear, landing gear legs here, which is really nice. There. And a bit more of the trunking, which we talked about. We've done the trunking quite well. There's no ejector pins in that trunking. A piece that's just off the sprue a little bit there. Probably just needs to be cruised back. And then you've got this rotating carousel system here, which almost looks like a gun barrel, and this is on which the bomb system actually rotates. And then you've got some very fine, it looks like they're little air brakes. I think they're air brakes. Little baffled air brakes here, which look very nice. And it's nice, you know, there's no flash on any of these parts. It's all very well formed. Yeah, can't fault it really. That's very nice. It's a shame about that. Those parts that were a bit more. Where's that cylinder? Yeah, some of the sort of the curved parts, they seem to have struggled with that. I've got a bit of a problem with their finishing. And last but not least, we have Zabombs. He says, and he doesn't quite cut it enough to get in. Still haven't cut it enough. There we are. And these are they look like conventional bombs, but of course I could be wrong. There's two sprues again. Two sets of sprues that are identical. Not a huge amount of detail on them, but yes, they have got some sort of riveting detail where the rear and front of the bomb section comes together. I was expecting the nuclear bombs to be a bit more striking than that. I don't know if I missed something, but interesting. Very nice. Very nice, and again it's in this very chunky sort of dark grey plastic, which sort of suits it very well, it has to be said. Okay, so that, like so, and then we are pretty much through it actually. That appears to be the kit. Oh yeah, sorry, I did miss the I missed the engine intakes. I don't think I showed you those. That was a bit of a faux pas on my part. Here we go. Because they're on the opposite face of the sprue. So there's your engines, fan blades. Very, very well done. And you've also got these engine exits, which interestingly look almost like a rocket exhaust, don't they? Literally. And your engine goes in there because it's like a rocket sort of ship anyway, but they have trunking before and after the engine. That's how they make it more stealthy, obviously. It's very interesting. That's supposed to be twisted. It is. Right, there we go then. So, sorry, I just got a little there are parts on this aircraft, of course, that are fairly unfamiliar to us all because of its unusual design, but quite a nice kit, I think. Actually, I love this the way they've packaged it, and they've got this, you know, they've got the box with all this sort of reinforcement in it to make sure that your critical parts don't get damaged. I've got some reservations about how it's going to go together in that those big parts. You're going to have maybe some issues with join there. I think it might need a little bit of filler, and you need some very heavy duty glue, I think, to make it stick. I don't know what the plastic's actually like. It's this very hard, heavy, thick plastic. Reservations, yeah, that join issue, I think that might give you one or two issues, and there's those sink marks which are a bit nasty on these cowlings for the engine, which are a little bit disappointing actually. doesn't seem to be in keeping with the rest of the kit. I don't know why they didn't spot that when they were in, you know, QC before they let the kit go. But overall, you can take care of that, you know. And I'm not sure anybody else is doing one like this, and it's very imposing, and it's got that sort of threatening feel to it, you know, like the real aircraft. So I do like it. I do like it. Not a cheap kit though. I think retailing for about, I think it's £70 or £80, something like that. Model collector, made in China, of course, I believe. Right, saying that, aren't I? Didn't check that at the beginning, did I? Did it say even? Doesn't really tell us. Yes, it is made in China. Yes, it does. It just hides it a bit. But I thought the instructions were very good, and the clear parts were excellent. The decals look pretty good. You just got to be a little bit careful again. Make sure you gloss it up. But overall, I really like it. It's a nice kit and something a bit different, and that's putting it mildly. So, would I give that? I think, given these issues that I mentioned, and some question marks about how it's going to go together, I think I'd say probably 8.5 out of 10, maybe 8.7. 8.7, okay, I think that's fair. Because they've got some things really right. They've got nice instructions with a bit of background and tells you what you need to know. Very imposing kit, make a great gift for somebody for Christmas, this. Yeah, 8.7, I think that's fair. Hope you'll give me better than 8.7 with a thumbs up if you wouldn't mind. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so if you want to see more reviews like this. I try and give you a really close, in-depth look at both the instructions and the decals and the parts as best I can. And yeah, don't forget, if you are a subscriber, you must ding that notification bell, because that will mean that you get early warning of any upcoming new videos that are on the way. And until there is another one on the way, I would just say to you, if I don't see you before Christmas, have a great Christmas and New Year, but the chances are I probably will be back like Arnie, and have something else to entertain you with, hopefully for your interest. And in the meantime, please just look after yourselves, take care, stay warm, stay safe. Thanks very much for your time for watching. Thanks a lot, and bye for now.